Hello, fellow Minecrafters. Gearsaw Studios here. Today, I'm going to show you how to build a basement because, honestly, sometimes the house isn't big enough and you just need some more room to add some chests or stuff. So, before I begin, remember, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out. So, with that, onto the tutorial. For this build's palette, we are going to be using all variants of stone bricks, so mossy, cracked, chiseled, and we're going to include some polished andesite to provide some framing. For the floor, we want something a little darker, so we're going to be using cobbled deep slate. Then, find a location that you can add a basement to. Good things are houses, possibly castles, or just other structures. You can even have KFC included into that. But make sure that you have a structure surrounding it so that way it makes sense. Then go inside, finding an area, preferably not wide open, such as that. Instead, maybe around here, and just start digging down. So that way you can start digging out a decent sized room. For a little bit more context, where we should put in our trapdoor, we should find the area and just start digging down. But we need a way to get in. So, of course, start placing down ladders, and then at the top, a trapdoor. Thankfully, trapdoors work like ladders in most scenarios. So, if you have a ladder under it, it's going to work like another ladder. So that way you can get in and out, and you should start digging out a quite big area. So, like this, and just go to the other side, and just start digging out. It doesn't have to be a full size, or it can be even bigger. So, go crazy with the size. So, a quick swipe of the /fill command later, we have a room ready. So, what we should do in this room is create a floor. I chose cobbled deep slate. You can choose deep slate tiles, or you can just go with anything. But it's good if it's darker than the walls, and preferably not the same thing you used for the ceiling up here. So, create a floor like this. And you should also create some sort of like grid box around this. So, get your polished andesite and start outlining the walls with it. You might have to move some of your lanterns, but once you do this, just repeat it on all sides. So, we have the floor and we have this outline, but we have a bit of an issue. We have birch wood for a ceiling, and that's not particularly good. So for some of you, you can choose to ignore it and now you have a birch ceiling. But for me, I don't particularly enjoy having that ceiling. So I'm going to move my lanterns, and what you should do is you should move down your grid by 1 block. Because what that does is it makes it so you can have your own type of block on the ceiling. So lower your grid by 1, or you can choose to ignore it. So it's up to you if you want to do this part, because it can still be a good basement anyways. Now, with our grid lowered by 1 block, we should start working on the ceiling and the walls. So, of course, we should put in all the details, but it's easier to just start placing down stone bricks. So, start placing down your stone bricks, or whatever block you chose, and do the same for the walls. But instead of doing this, which seems like the obvious solution, instead do this. It makes a lot more detail in the build and just overall increases how good it looks by a lot. So fill in all these walls and the ceiling. Now, with the walls in, this looks absolutely amazing right now, and you could just leave it as is. But of course, that's not finished. So you need to finish the build. First off, you should start by working to include lighting into the build. So I'm going to use these stone bricks that are chiseled, and I'm just going to place them around. Then hang lanterns from them. I've removed a couple because of clutter, but now we have ample lighting. We should then decorate them with some good old polished andesite stairs, so that way they look more formal and well polished. So now that we have decent lighting sources in that also are decorated, we have an area that's soon to be ready to be filled up with stuff. Another solution to the lighting issue is using redstone lamps. Something I don't particularly like using, but some of you redstone experts out there might like doing that. So try it out and see how you like it. Now we have a room ready to be decorated. So what we should do is we should start making our barrel wall, because storage is an amazing component in any base. So having a good barrel wall or chest wall, if you have stairs on top, is just a good way to fill up your basement. Along with that, don't forget about making all the cracked and mossy stone bricks. Preferably, mossy should come from the top, while cracked should just be everywhere. So, I've made the walls more detailed by adding the cracked and moss. So, what we should do now is we should start by getting ready to place a nether portal, because although most of my builds don't include nether portals, they're an essential thing, both for game progression, fast travel, and just resources. So, what I recommend doing is taking a part of the wall, excavating it, and creating a nether portal inside of it. So, just like this. And before you light it, you should probably put a background to it. So I'm going to actually go with deep slate because it's just a pretty good texture overall. So now that we have this deep slate backdrop, light the portal. And now we have another portal in our basement, which is incredibly handy. So now just fill up the rest of the room with whatever you can think of. Now, what we should do is place down an enchanting table, because although you should probably fill it up with your own ideas, you still need some of those good old essentials that might not fit in the above ground portion. So, an enchanting table is a good example, and you might have to do some stuff in order to make sure it's level 30. So, just get out your random tool, and make sure that it's level 30. This is only level 24, so I'm going to have to extend it a bit, so that way it's closer to the desired level. So sometimes you might have to make sacrifices, such as adding that section right there. You might have to do corners, or simply you can just do this corner, which actually affects enchanting table power. So now we have level 28, and now we can just add one thing, and level 30. So just do some various things to try to make it work. Now, if you're really struggling for ideas, what you could also do is make your mine's entrance. So, all you have to do is just start digging down and make sure to place ladders on the wall. Along with that, you should get some lighting, so that way you can actually see inside your mine. So, I'm not going to do the entire thing, because, of course, this is creative mode, I don't necessarily have to, but it's just a good idea that you should do. Then do this, make sure that your door is facing right, because that's the Minecraft way, and then you have this. So for the rest of the room, paintings are a good way to fill in some wall space. So although we have wasted a lot of this wall space, it's still pretty good. Also, paintings can be a little bit finicky, so don't go too fast with them. So I've added two more details that are just pretty simple things you can do to improve your build. So we have a little table right here, just neat, kind of just exists, but it's cool. We have the painting, which I particularly like this one, and we have a little target block. So what you can do here is you can shoot, and you can light up this redstone lamp. So it's not terribly complicated, but it's a thing to pass the time. So I recommend building one of these if you just feel like lighting up a lamp from time to time. So here we have a pretty decent room. Nether portal, enchanting table with a grindstone, paintings, storage, target block, and just a little flower pot. So this room's looking pretty good, and it's also very nice looking. So it's useful, practical, which are pretty much the same thing, and pretty. So let's just take a quick look with shaders on. Sliders Vibrant shaders, which I'd highly recommend, link in the description. So now that these are loaded, we can see that this room is very nice because the lanterns provide a nice warm light, and just overall everything's pretty cool with these shaders. So very good build that you should try out, especially with shaders. So with that, it's the end of today's video. If you enjoyed this video, remember, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out, especially because at the time of recording, I'm at 108 subscribers, something that I thought would take absolutely ages, but only a couple of months. So thank you to all of those out there. So with that, take care, have a nice day. Gearsaw out.